Good afternoon. I want to welcome all of you, those here in this room, and the over 100 of you joining us on the live stream to St. John's Episcopal Church. My name is Kathleen Moore, and I am the Associate Rector here at St. John's.
My name is Scott Denman. I'm the rector at St. John's, and welcome, and by the way, congratulations for finding this place. We apologize for the state of our parking area, but we're excited that it's being transformed into a new entrance that will be safe and welcoming, and also will function as a safe drop-off for Thornhill School. But in the meantime, you just have to deal with it. And if you thought that coming into the entrance took faith, wait till you go out the exit. This is a one-way operation, and it's on the level, so please do not leave by the driveway going up. Go straight to what looks like a dead end, and then take a hard right down a very hellish exit to Thornhill Drive. Also, this is the public service announcement part of the thing. If you need restrooms, they're out those double doors to your left, straight ahead.
So St. John's is a proud co-founder and member of Genesis, which is made up of 14 faith and community organizations in the Bay Area, working together for a more just and inclusive world. Having the opportunity to hear from all of our candidates is important to us in helping all of our community members make informed decisions in voting our values.
And we're very excited. We thank you all for being here and letting us get to know you more and your perspectives. But we strongly feel that our city should be a safe and equitable place for all people. And for us, loving our neighbor as we love ourselves is not possible if we do not love our city. And voting for us is an act of love.
And so let us pray. Source of all wisdom, we give thanks for the right to vote. Help us to hold this responsibility with the care it merits, knowing that our vote matters and that it is an act of faith. Be with these candidates as they put themselves forward and seek to serve, and watch over all the people of the city of Oakland, now and in days to come. Amen.
And now we'd like to hand things over to Ann Meyer, who will explain the guidelines for today.
Good afternoon. My name is Ann Meyer. I'm a member of the Action and Justice team of St. John's, and I serve as the board secretary of Genesis. Here are the guidelines for the forum. First, please note that as 501c3 nonprofit organizations, neither St. John's nor Genesis may express any political opinions, endorsements, or preferences for a particular candidate or candidates. Nothing we communicate today should be interpreted as such. Oakland voters within the St. John's community and Genesis staff developed the prepared questions that will be asked of each candidate. We invited all 9 candidates of record. Those with us today, the 7, are the candidates who chose to attend. All 7 candidates were given the opportunity to do a preparation meeting with our candidate prep team. Candidates will be told the amount of time in which to answer each of the questions. Timekeepers will ensure candidates stay within their time limit. Each candidate has been randomly assigned an alphabetical letter A through G. Please note that this is not a debate. This means that the moderators will ask the questions and will not respond to the candidates' answers. There will not be open mic during this forum, nor will there be an audience Q&A. If the candidates choose, you can interact with them after the forum, outside the sanctuary, in our reception room, which is out the back door. We will have two timekeepers, Lori and Sophia. Will you wave to the crowd? I would like to turn the program over to Maddie and Claire, who will be the co-moderators of this forum.
Thank you, Anne. My name is Maddie Jones. I will be one of the co-moderators today. I have been a member of St. John's for 22 years, since I was a baby, and I'm a lifelong member of the church and Oakland. It is our job to provide the planned questions for the 7 candidates. The questions were prepared by voters of St. John's and Genesis, but were not shared ahead of time with the candidates. All candidates were given the format of this forum in a prep meeting, and we have given each candidate a random letter to put in order by that letter. Question 1. Introduce yourself and explain why you are running and why we should vote for you. You will be given 2 minutes for your answer. First up is candidate A, Sweeney.
Hi everyone, nice to see you all, and thank you St. John's and Genesis for having this candidate forum. I'm running for mayor because Oakland deserves a champion, and I was born in Berkeley, raised in Oakland. I have lived here most of my life. I would be honored to represent you all and help this city grow, help create a renaissance in Oakland. Something that you may not know about me, one of my fellow candidates has actually already endorsed me, in a way, for West Point. For those of you who don't know, West Point is the United States Military Academy at West Point, and one needs either a senator or a congressional nomination to attend. So Congresswoman Barbara Lee nominated me for West Point coming out of high school. Other facts about me: I'm an Olympian, I'm a Harvard graduate and a UC Berkeley graduate, and I have so many creative ideas for Oakland. I want to revitalize Oakland. If I've done those hard things, get into West Point, be an Olympian, graduate from Harvard and Berkeley, and now I'm a stand-up comedian and barista. I can serve you coffee in the morning as well. I know I can do wonderful things for Oakland. Thank you. I'm Elizabeth Sweeney.
Hello, everyone, and thank Genesis and St. John's for this forum today. And I want to say that my name is Mindy Petchenuk, and I'm not an Oaklander originally. I grew up in New York City and lived here 10 years, and what I've seen happen to the city, I want to share with you. And it's because I don't want to mince words about how important this election is. Today, we stand at the threshold of a new era of our beloved city. An era where public safety is paramount, where crime prevention techniques are woven into the fabric of our communities, and where the scourge of financial corruption is eradicated. We are not merely aspirational in our quest for a safer, more prosperous Oakland. We are resolute in our determination to confront the elephants in the room, the unsustainable union contracts and mislabeled affordable housing initiatives, and the entrenched special interests that have held our city. But there's another crisis that demands our immediate attention. The unhoused crisis that has ravaged our city, destroyed our lives, families, and communities. And we must acknowledge that this crisis is not just about the lack of housing, but the complex interplay of mental illness, drug addiction, alcohol addiction, physical, mental, and sexual abuse. So we have to address all these questions in this current 18 months. We can't put things off for later. And that is why I will say 2 things. One, we must stop Measure A, which is nothing but a Band-Aid solution to the real problems facing our city. We'll not be fooled by the false promises of special interests we seek to maintain. And I want to make the point to work together. The city needs all of us together, and that's why I would say vote for me for number 1, and vote for Lauren Taylor for number 2. Let's put together a team that actually can run this city and actually finally solve the problems for the future of our children and do what God created us in his image to be, powerful, creative souls. Thank you.
Hello, my name is President Christina Grappo, and I'm running for the office of mayor right here in the city of Oakland. I think I will stand out as a character for you because I come from Oakland. I was born here, and I went to high school here, and I've lived most of my life right here in the city domain. I'm religious, I'm spiritual. I think I can do a lot for the economy and as well as public safety. Now, this is a short term that I'm running for. That means it goes alongside our city budget. So hopefully we will pass Measure A and work on getting out of debt as a debt solution for the upcoming 10 years. What I can do for Oakland is be tough on crime. I can build affordable housing, and I can stop the dumping that goes around Oakland. We need to be clean. We need to have heart in Oakland, and we need to have more pride in Oakland. I can uplift Oakland because I'm from here, and I know how to leap beyond bounds. I bring people together. I know a lot about public schools as well as parochial schools, having been a Bishop O'Dowd graduate, and I believe that St. John's Episcopal Church and Genesis will get behind me because we want a better Oakland for all of us. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Lauren Taylor. I am an engineer, a former council member, a candidate for mayor, and I ask for your vote and your support in this upcoming election, April 15th, less than 3 weeks away. My wife Erica and I are raising our 2 children here in Oakland because we love this city. And I have to acknowledge my daughter Cameron, who's here with us this afternoon. We're raising our kids here because we know this city, we love this city, we believe in its potential. But we have to acknowledge that Oakland is fundamentally broken. We have a lot of things that need to be fixed and fixed immediately. That is why 86,000 Oaklanders came together to rebuke the failed leadership, failed practices of the past administrations. If we don't act with urgency, we will continue to lose residents, lose businesses, lose revenues, drive ourselves closer to bankruptcy, and lose the ultimate thing, which is our ability to control our own destinies. It is critical that we get on top of this immediately, and that means that we need a leader that is connected to this community, connected to the breadth of our community, different groups across geographically, ethnically, and the political, ideological spectrum. We also have to have someone that is committed to this work. I am committed to make sure that my daughter Cameron and her brother Manny, as well as future generations of Oaklanders, receive the city that we know we could be as opposed to the one that we have right now. We're all familiar with what the problems and the challenges are. Oakland must be, and these are my priorities, a safe city, a clean city, a city that is full of opportunities, and those 3 cannot happen unless we address the fiscal foundation of our city. I am here to root out the mismanagement, the corruption, put us on a right track so we don't end up seeing the same problems over and over again, and we actually start moving this city forward to deliver on our full potential. Thank you for your time. I look forward to serving you as your next mayor.
Hi, my name is Lou. I'm a combat veteran. I went to the Iraq War, in which Barbara Lee says no, and I thank her for it, because what I found there was weapon of mass destruction that was made in U.S. It's got U.S. serial numbers on it. So after I killed a bunch of terrorists there, all right, I got a mandate from God, right, came to me and said, hey, you need to spread peace and prosperity in the world instead. So I came up with this community empowered safety plan in which I teach people how to be millionaires in 2 years and how to be a billionaire in 10 so that they don't have to go through what I went, all right? I've seen a lot of kids there that just came out of high school that doesn't know what they're fighting for, all right? So with this way, they would have a future that they could count on and to how to be prosperous in Oakland legally, so they don't have to, deprive the life and property of others. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon. My name is Barbara Lee, and I'm very happy to be with you today. I want to thank all of you for turning out and really becoming very informed voters. A couple of things I'll just mention about myself. I was born and raised in El Paso, Texas. I attended Catholic school. The Sisters of Loretta taught me for 8 years, and there they were very rigorous academicians, but I especially didn't quite like them, but they taught us values. They taught us that we must go where the need is the greatest. That was the motto of the Sisters of Loretta. And I believe that the need is very great here in Oakland, California. I serve on the Berkeley Theological Seminary, as board of directors. I went to Mills College, UC Berkeley. Oakland is home. I've been privileged to bring billions of dollars into Oakland as a state representative, as well as your members of Congress, for housing, for public safety, for our arts community, for you name it, just to make life better for Oaklanders. We are at a crossroads now, and when I decided to run, I listened to people tell me what the issues were that they cared about. All around the city, it was public safety, it was housing and our unsheltered populations, it was good governance, it was economic development and jobs, and people want us to be in the neighborhoods with people working and bringing solutions to Oakland. I'm proud to have the support of the majority of the members of the council, 7 former mayors and city administrators, and that's important because you have to have consensus. You have to be able to bring people together to find consensus to solve problems. Otherwise, the divisiveness will continue. And so I look forward to the discussion today. I hope that I have worked to earn your vote over the years, and I want to thank you again for your support over the years, but also want to work together to make sure that, as the scriptures say, faith without works is dead, and I'm a proud member of the Allen Temple Baptist Church. Thank you again.
Hi, thanks for having me. I'm Suze Robinson. I currently work as the Vice President of Governance and Stakeholder Engagement for a regional business group, the Bay Area Council, and I've been working there since 2009, deeply immersed in all the issues that Oakland is struggling with and other cities across our region. So look, folks, I got involved in public safety in 2017 when we witnessed a murder, and that pulled me into this community policing and the infrastructure. I've worked with the Department of Violence Prevention on a strategic plan pre-pandemic based on activities, and I understand very deeply that it's not just that we don't have enough officers in Oakland right now, it's the fact that we have a lot of other issues going on in public safety. We have a major cultural collapse. Our officers are not doing their jobs. They're doing as little as possible. And we have some oversight and systemic problems with how these different entities are integrating with each other that manage our police department that have caused some of these cultural problems. So we have got to focus not just on increasing our officer levels, which we have to do when we can get our revenue up, and we have money in the general fund, but we have to get our existing officers doing their jobs out here. We've never had enough police officers in Oakland, and it's never been like this before. So I think I'm a very good candidate because I am not, although I have worked in politics, I am not going to filter every decision through a political lens. I'm willing to stand up to a broken down political system, especially my party, the Democrats, that have lost their way and they've lost touch with their own constituents. I'm also a leader that believes that this is our time to build the future of this city. We know what the problems are, but are we willing not just to solve those problems, but where are we going as a city? And I believe that we have to make Oakland ground zero in the fight for this planet. It's not enough to be pointing fingers in partisan politics. We have to prove the model in this city that the economy, the new economy, can actually work for the middle class. We have failed. We have not done this. Our city has been polluted, so we have a lot of building the future ahead of us.
Thank you, candidates. My name is Claire Kelly. I am a 26-year-old Oakland native with no plans to leave, a member of Montclair Presbyterian Church, a very active member of our local community, and a part owner of the Oakland Ballers. In our process of planning this forum and in educating ourselves and other voters on the purview of the Oakland mayor, we have learned that coalition building is key to performing the duties of Oakland mayor. Here is your question. How will you build a powerful coalition on day one to accomplish your priorities? You have 2 minutes, and we ask that everybody please refrain from applause until the very end for all candidates. Candidate Petchenook, we will begin with you.
Well, the first thing I would do is pull together people who I consider really competent, which means that I'm not going to let the unions destroy the city the way the union contracts have at this point. We will need to do away with a lot of that, and I'm also going to go into the finances of the city. It needs to be cleaned out. There's a lot of money that's there, but a lot of money that's wasted on nonprofits, on NGOs, and other projects, and people's back pockets. And if we're going to get the city run right, we need to be able to do those things. And it also means an open door policy to you. What I want to see is that the citizens have a town meeting with them every week. What's the problem with that? We should have that kind of communication. We should have that kind of openness. It also means with the city council. It also means that the mayor has got to play a much stronger role than the mayor has done in this city, which means including in education. Because what you see right now is being destructive to our young people. I'm a classically trained musician. I'm a bassoonist by training. And we need to have a school program, and I know the responsibility of the mayor is not supposed to be the schools, but you can't be mayor and ignore these things. You have to talk to the people in education. You have to go to the school system. And that's the kind of hands-on approach that I believe has to be made, so that the citizens don't sit there and feel that there's nothing they can do about it, but that they're involved. And it also means, right now, engaging in a policy to industrialize Oakland again. This city once was a great industrial city known as the Detroit of the West. We need to bring back the manufacturing, the industry, the skilled job level. And just one last thing on working with the police. I work actually in dialogue with a lot of the police. I've done many ride-alongs with the East Oakland Police. And we got to change the city ordinances if we're going to have safety. Thank you.
Okay, from day one, I'd like to build a powerful coalition with inviting named people to our city to speak, for example, like Jesse Jackson and social justice. Now, in addition to making invitations like that, I will allow organizations to come forward, like Sierra Club, who have helped push out the coal industry from neighborhoods along the Jack London Square. I believe that coalitions that serve social justice and environmental causes will allow the city of Oakland to move forward and engage with climate change trends so we can come up with solutions as a city. Now, we also need a coalition for immigration as a sanctuary city. The city of Oakland has been a sanctuary city for a number of decades, and we can't stop now from having Oakland be a sanctuary city. This means that immigrants that have become citizens, as well as residents that are partaking in our businesses and our healthcare agencies will have a place to go and will have a place to stand up. This will allow for, City Hall to continue with demonstrations, nonviolent demonstrations, people that want to show Oakland what we need. There will be communication. I will foster communication between not only the City Hall department, but the department, the OPD, as well as public safety in all realms. Thank you.
So when we talk about building coalition, bringing folks together, I'm not just speaking theoretically, I'm speaking from experience at the city level, the only candidate for mayor who has held leadership role guiding us through addressing our toughest challenges within City Hall and across the city. So one, a couple examples. The encampment management policy, when everyone was swirling, trying to figure out how we address homeless encampments and other challenges, a lot of people making a lot of noise, talking over each other. As chair of the Life Enrichment Committee, I brought together folks from across the ideological spectrum, our unhoused neighbors, business owners, residents, to come up with a plan, a policy on how we would keep our residents in and around encampments safe, ensure dignity, health, and the utmost conditions. And now we're starting to see folks start to fully embrace it and implement that policy. Other examples, reimagining public safety task force. Similarly, 140 Oaklanders from across the city, multiple backgrounds, ideological perspectives, et cetera, coming together to wrestle with how we keep our communities safe while ensuring that we eliminate unconstitutional practices, eliminate racial bias, and strengthen community police relations. Those are examples. So how will I build coalition as mayor? I will continue doing the same things I was doing before. Leveraging relationships that are built on trust, engaging consistently in terms of communication, bringing folks to the table, and not just bringing folks to the table, which every mayor will be able to do if you are mayor of the city, but telling folks the hard truth, being very direct, but also leaning in to understand their motivations, their needs, and how we create these win-wins. It's also critical that we create the transparency, the visibility, so that that also enhances trust. It establishes a common fact base that we're working on, as opposed to pointing each other and not having confidence in the numbers or the facts that we're using. Thank you.
On day one, I ordered the police chief to issue concealed carry permits for $200 to anyone that comes through Oakland and their legal residents. And I'll order the police, each police officer will create an armed neighborhood watch of 7 to 25 volunteers. This city is under siege. Even the police is getting attacked by criminals, all right? They got shot at, all right? So we need to move the focus onto militias, all right? There's no police in the Constitution, all right? It used to be when the Constitution was formed, the power of the police is in the militias, all right? So we're gonna train militias. I would train them to how to fight criminals, especially terrorists. If there's any terrorist attacks, they'll be called on and they'll be activated. And if there's a fire in the hills, they'll be activated to evacuate people, all right? If there are small things like potholes that could be fixed, all right, we're gonna pay the militias to do it for us, all right, instead of having a bulky, citywide dysfunctional transportation unit that just couldn't handle it, all right? And this way, when we sell concealed carry permits, the funds would go towards cameras in high crime areas. We'll install it in, on intersections with high crime areas, and these footage will be accessible live on real time to the residents, and they could just log on to your screen to see if anything's happening in their neighborhood, like if there's gunshots and whatnot. Eventually, this would spread to like medium crime areas. So until the city's safe, then we have this citywide, monitoring system for us so that the citizens could help out the police in these kinds of activities.
To be an effective elected official, one has to form coalitions to solve problems and to get the job done. Just a bit of a little bit of background, factual. I've been the only black person, male or female, in Congress for 27 years north of Los Angeles, and in the legislature, I was the only black person north of Los Angeles in the California legislature. I put together coalitions of allies who understood my perspective and understood why I needed to fight for the most vulnerable, for low-income people, for working people, and for people and constituents that others may or may not know. Having said that, I was able to go to George Bush, and I voted against every single one of his policies. But I went to him about global HIV and AIDS, both here and abroad. He worked with me. To date, we've saved 25 million lives. Secondly, when I was in the legislature, the Port of Oakland needed dredging to 50 feet. I put together the coalition of business, labor, our port officials, our community activists, our environmentalists. I worked out the arrangements with this coalition that we were able to dredge the Port of Oakland to 50 feet. We created economic opportunities, thousands of jobs, and we created the Sonoma Baylands where we were able to take the dredge spoils up to Sonoma. But that was a win-win-win. All of my elected life, I have been working with allies, and it's so important now to recognize I do have the endorsement of the majority of the City Council, of Mia Bonta, who chairs the Health Committee, Jesse Aragon, our state senator, who actually chairs the Public Safety Committee, and also Assembly Member Buffy Wicks, who chairs the Appropriations Committee. In this day and time, when we may or may not have a federal government left, coalitions and working with allies who you can work with, who they know, who you can leverage your experience and leadership and background with, is what Oakland needs. And I am prepared to fight for Oakland with our allies and bring a coalition of everyone in this state and country together to work for Oakland. Thank you again.
Yeah, so I've been working at the Bay Area Council since 2009, and this is what we do. We convene tough conversations with stakeholders all over the region, employers, NGOs, foundations, to solve the region's biggest problems. So I understand firsthand how to do this. I have hundreds, if not thousands, of contacts. I know all the employers in Oakland, including Clorox, Sutter, Kaiser. We've worked with them ongoing throughout the years. We've got to get help from the private sector to solve our public safety crises right now. We've got to get a fund together like other cities are doing from the private sector, big businesses helping little businesses, expansion of our private security network while we get through this and we get our public safety back up and running the way it should be. So look, we also have a city council right now that's new, and there's a saying, is like, don't let a crisis go to waste. I mean, now more than ever, people will work together. So this is a tremendous opportunity for Oakland to get everybody paddling in the same direction. As a river guide, I've been a volunteer guide for a long time, I understand that power and momentum comes from everyone working together and going in the same direction. So we've got to define what we are as a city, okay? Are we a family-friendly city, or are we a city for drug dealers and prostitutes? What are we? And we've got to go in that direction. And we've got to understand where we're going as a city. And these are the kinds of ways that we can convene and motivate people to show up. People are burdened and heavy with all the problems in this city, so it's time for us to synergize people around a bold vision for this future and to create some change. There's a lot of council members that are passionate about different things. One of them wants to clean up Oakland. One of them's been trying to work on building a care campus, which is something I'm passionate about, coordinating, consolidating, and centralizing our homeless services so that the resources actually get to the homeless people. Because 1 in 5 want to get well and they can't. They're not getting the help they deserve. We've created a sprawling network of agencies and organizations that doesn't work.
Hi. I'm Elizabeth Swaney, and I don't have a political party affiliation. I'm a relatively fresh face in politics, and I think that's something that Oakland needs. Oaklanders want something new in Oakland. We can vote for something that's been around for a while or vote for new ideas and new change in Oakland. And I'd like to share some stories about my leadership and building coalitions. When I was at UC Berkeley, I was the only woman on the Cal men's rowing team, so I steered the boat, directed the rowers, and helped the rowers get motivated through practices. And we were the Pac-10 team champions and top 3 in the nation. So I know if I can help motivate a boat of 8 rowers and yell commands and get the team together, 8 oars in the water at the same time, I can do similar things for Oakland. I also competed in the Olympics in 2018 in freestyle skiing. As you all might notice, there's no snow around Oakland. So I grew up skating at Oakland Ice Center and Berkeley Iceland. I learned to ski as an adult. And I worked 4 to 5 jobs to afford ski coaching, to afford just like traveling around the world when I made it to the World Cup for skiing. And I had to, because I couldn't afford coaching full time, get ideas from my fellow competitors on what to do. So I built coalitions with my fellow competitors around the world, and that helped kind of all of us compete in the Olympics eventually in 2018. We were kind of like a big basketball team that were trying to get the highest score during the game, but really working together every competition around the world. So I know I can do the same for Oakland. Another fun fact about me is that I grew up in a bilingual English-Spanish speaking household. So I'm very aware of very like diverse communities in Oakland. I am very in tune with the Hispanic community in Oakland and just all communities in Oakland. I love getting to know people, and I would have an open door as your mayor and love to hear from all of you, anyone that has ideas in Oakland. Thank you.
Thank you, candidates. Most voters are concerned about the economic stability of Oakland. According to the Oakland City Charter, Section 305, the mayor shall submit a budget. This question has 2 parts. 1, what is your #1 priority to close the projected $130 million deficit by June 30th of 2025? 2, for the budget that has been submitted for the next 2 years, what are your top 3 priorities? Oh, candidate C, you can start, yeah.
Hello. Now, to address the #1 priority to close the projected $130 million deficit by June 30th of 2025, I think we discussed this, we passed Measure A, we can do it in 10 years. With the last mayor, basically we set aside money to close more of the gap, and I got different figures when I did my research, and apparently we're still in debt and we have a long ways to go. So June 30th, it's not going to do it, but what we can do is for the upcoming budget for post-July, we'll be able to, if we don't pass Measure A, we can take percentages off of each grand topic of our budget. For example, take 1% off of public safety, 1% off of affordable housing, 1% off of economic development, and so on and so forth. This would enable us to keep things without cutting our major concerns completely. As for the budget that has to be submitted for the next 2 years, my top priorities are strengthening the economy, public safety that deals and contends with keeping our fire department strong as well as our police force strong, with having a Oakland Police Academy in July. And my other priority is keeping out the toxic dumping from our Port Authority as well as our neighborhoods. I want our town to be strong. Thank you.
So when it comes to our budget, we have to acknowledge that, yes, we have a $130+ million structural budget deficit. And when we get into office, whichever of us, it'll be May, first, second week in May. So the budget, there won't be a lot of time to correct what's happening in this fiscal year. But what we can do is make sure that we put our stamp on the ongoing 2-year budget that will be finalized in the next 6 weeks after we're sworn in. And what that means is that we have to look at how we address our high costs, operating expenses, which are much higher than the revenues we're bringing in. So we've got to increase revenues, reduce expenses, eliminate inefficiencies. When we talk about increasing revenues, we have to support our economic development, bring in more businesses in order to grow the economic base. property values, property taxes, sales taxes, hotel taxes from visitors coming in, all of that. To be a much more business-friendly city, we have to support our small businesses, keep them from leaving. So we have to address public safety because we know public safety is suppressing our economic growth. We also have to reduce the burden on our small businesses in terms of the processes, the bureaucracy, so giving them concierge service so that they can better navigate City Hall. And we also have to look at and growing relative to the balance sheet. We have to look at how we restructure our debt to eliminate tens of millions of dollars in interest payments that we are paying right now on significant loans, and specifically our pension liability fund. Relative to priorities overall over the next 2 years, safety, cleanliness, economic opportunities. Those are the three. If we're not focused on those three and addressing the fiscal foundation, we are not going to have a chance as a city. So moving forward on those is absolutely critical.
All right, we got to sell concealed carry permits. There's around 4 million people in this metropolitan area, and if they're legal, right, legal residents, we'll sell them concealed carry permits at $200 each, and then I'll have these huge seminars in which people will come to practice my Get Rich Method, CSB5, and we'll charge them $200, and I hope to attract like millions of my fans here, and so that they'll get with it the program on how to build their own economic success. We're going to have people come, and then we're going to group them into zip codes, and they're going to be grouped to like 7 more people around there, and then they're going to bring their business ideas, and then we're going to vote on who's got the best ideas, and there'll be a president of a company, and then based on their resumes, they're going to vote who's going to be a treasurer, who's going to be a secretary. And let's say, for example, the idea of winning ideas like a bed that's a tube-shaped bed, right? Let's say it's made of half-inch of metal, right? If there's an earthquake in Oakland, you're living a first-floor condominium, everything collapses on you, just like what happened at Thailand recently. So let's say if there's a drive-by, right? People shot bullets, and it hits your bed, it just bounced off because it's made metal. So let's say that bed, you sold like 1,000 units. Other companies will come around, like Mantini Sleep World, and say, hey, we love your idea. We want to buy it for like 50 million, right? So at that point, if you're the president of a company, hey, you know what's it? You said, hey, this is worth 100 million, right? Based on the projection of our units. Boom, you sell it, everyone in that group of yours is going to be millionaires. So that's how we're going to get rich in Oakland, is by using that method, right? Thank you.
Given the timeline for this special election, there won't be that much time left for mayor to weigh in, except there's a process where a budget could be amended. And if there were additional revenues that I learned about, I would attempt to do that before June of 2025. However, for the next budget, it's very important to look at the structural issues. First, of course, we know that to balance the budget, one must cut expenses and raise revenue. I want to, as mayor, call for a forensic audit because I'm confident that there's waste and fraud and abuse in many of our departments. Secondly, the budget needs to be balanced based on existing revenue. I know for a fact that I brought in millions of dollars for COVID relief to save lives and livelihoods. This budget is still being based on money coming in that is not coming in. Also, it's important that we look at cuts. And I've said over and over again that everything is on the table. Raising revenue from fines, tickets, permits, business tax license, you name it. We have been missing in action in raising revenue. However, cutting services would be the last resort. This city deserves the best possible services our city can provide. But cutting services, cutting jobs would be the last course of action. Finally, I'll just say increasing revenue, Measure W. The county will be spending millions of dollars with cities. We deserve our fair share of Measure W for affordable housing. I'm going to fight for Oakland where there's revenue that we have not really gone after, and Measure W is an example. We need more affordable housing. We need more deeply affordable housing. And a revenue source, Measure W, would be one path. Finally, I'll just say we have to tighten our belts. We know good and well that we can't keep spending at the level we're spending, but I also know that departments where there are efficiencies that need to be looked at, which would again raise revenue. Thank you.
Yeah, so Congresswoman is right. The budget is going to be in council's hands May 1st, so there's not that much the mayor's going to be able to do about it. But look, we've got a revenue crisis in the city, and Lauren's right about public safety being number one. No one's going to come back to the city if we have a public safety crisis. So this mayor has to leverage this special election and make it clear that this is a new Oakland. It's the dawning of a new day. We are not an anti-business city anymore. We are open for business. We are here. We're ready to go. We have the second highest business taxes in the entire region. And guess who's more than us? San Francisco, because we do everything San Francisco does. So we have to change our tax infrastructure. No one is going to come here in an economy like this and set up business operations. They can go to Emeryville. They are going to Emeryville. We're in a very competitive environment, and we got to wake up to that. These other cities are stealing our businesses. And other states, they've been going after our businesses for a long time, and now we are easy picking. So we have to understand, this is a competitive environment. Cities are already doing things. We are behind the curve, and we're going to have to fly into action. We have one of the worst commercial real estate collapses in history happening right now. It is not done. It's a slow collapse of our commercial real estate. And they're not talking about it because it gives people leverage for lease agreements. But we've got to do something about these empty office buildings. So Phil Ting has legislation where we can do office to housing conversion. And we also can do incremental finance districting with some of these older office buildings, especially that are easier to convert into housing. So we've got to go after that. We got to go after new businesses. A mayor has to be business development mayor on this one. You got to go out there and decide what are the businesses we want in Oakland. How do we make deals with those businesses? I'm interested in clean, green, new economy businesses. We've got to prove the model in the city. We have to build a new city. So we make businesses now, we build a cluster, and we keep those businesses here in the long run when the economy rebounds. It's going to be hard for them to leave if we build a new economy cluster in the downtown core. So there's a lot we have to do in the first 100 days.
Oakland is, as you know, facing a historic $130 million budget deficit, and that's actually projected to be $280 million over the next few years if things continue as they are. So as you can imagine, Oakland needs solutions that are bold, creative, and responsible to move forward. I have some responsible, bold, creative ideas. For example, one idea I have is to sell city naming rights. What if we had Apple City Hall, Google Gardens, or Google Transit Center, or whatever other company we responsibly choose? And we could also have these companies put a logo on the uniform for the firefighters or police officers as well. And that would be a quick way to bring in revenue for the city. We also need to focus on prioritizing essential services like fire, police, and other safety services. And I'd also partner with tech, state, and federal funding sources in order for the state and federal government to give us the funding that we need and we deserve. We need to make sure that we're acting on the bonds that were passed by voters a few years ago. Not all of the bonds have been passed, so those one of the bonds is, I think, Measure U for essential city services and affordable housing, and that passed in 2022, and we're not getting the grants that we need because we have not passed those bonds, activated those bonds. So I would focus on priorities like that in Oakland and also have my door open to any other creative ideas that Oaklanders have. One other idea I have is offering a few tax incentives for community service. For example, if you want to clean up a garden in Oakland or help fix a street, that could give you a small tax incentive, and that would also save the city a lot of money in the long run by not having city services at every possible location. So those are some ideas. I'm Elizabeth Swaney. Thank you.
Well, it's a two process that you have to take on. One is you have to clean, as I said earlier, out what's going on in the finances of the city. These union contracts are literally destroying a lot of what Oakland needs and taking a lot of money to places that it shouldn't go. And it's the same thing, the millions and millions that we're putting into a lot of nonprofits and other projects that literally are destroying our city. When what you have to do at the same time, it's called the American system. It's what this country was known for. You have to produce. We can't be just a service city. You have to have industry, manufacturing. Why not use the Port of Oakland and let's go back to shipbuilding? Look at many people we could actually train and develop as shipbuilders and have the increase in the exports to become a major, even bigger than it is, the Port of Oakland, to become a major exporter for the goods and food that is produced throughout this state. So these are the kinds of things you have to do. We can't do these baby steps anymore. We can't go along with these bond measures. And if I had more time, I'd tell you a funny, not a funny, but a serious story about New York City. They started a bond in the early 1900s to build the 2nd Avenue subway, and they finally built one stop a few years ago. So bonds don't really do the job, and neither does Measure A. Measure A will not solve any bankruptcy of the city. It will increase your property taxes. It's going to increase your ability to buy what you need. Taxing does not serve it. We need tax incentives instead to have industry, small businesses, manufacturing come into Oakland. Let's make Oakland a great productive city. Let's work together to make it a vibrant city. And that has to be done with collaboration on the state level and on the federal level. And I will work with Donald Trump. I will work with the state assembly. I've been endorsed by Leticia Castillo, who's a state assemblywoman, and I've been endorsed by retired now former state senator Mike Mayoral.
Thank you, candidates. Measure A is on the ballot for Oakland voters and would, if passed, enact a half-cent sales increase, which would boost our sales tax from 10.25 to 10.75%. The revenue from Measure A is intended to be used as general revenue. Here's your question. Are you in favor of Measure A? Please begin your answer with a yes or a no. The reason that we are asking for a definitive yes or no is because we are depending on you all for definitive, confident leadership for our city of Oakland. Candidate Taylor, we will begin with you, and you each have 1 minute to respond to this question.
Thank you. Yes, I have endorsed Measure A, albeit reluctantly. I believe that we need the revenues in order to quickly get past our current fiscal crisis. That being said, I am strongly opposed to relying on taxes to fix issues and situations that are self-imposed. The corruption, the mismanagement, the kicking the can down the road, that is how we got here. We have to acknowledge that while we look at where we are today and what is needed to move forward. Having an additional $30 million in revenue is going to be critical to helping us. The reason why I'm supportive is because I don't see it having a significant material impact on our economy. Given the fact that other cities nearby have the rate that we will be climbing to, it means that neighbors will have to go 2 cities over in order to save a half-cent on sales tax, and I don't see that as a major driver. So it's unfortunate that we need these measures, but we do. I'm thankful it's temporary, and that's one of the other reasons I'm supporting it.
It's a no for me because I could generate revenue having people come here for my CESP 5 seminars, and they'll learn how to be billionaires in 10 years. And for all these vacant buildings that we have in Oakland that are city-owned, we would turn them into CESP 5 seminar in which the employees of the city, I'll be training them how to do this, and so we could generate revenue that way. I project, we could turn, these seminars would generate tens of thousands of businesses for the city of Oakland, and that's what we should go for. And I believe all taxes, like these real estate taxes on your real estate properties, are all theft, and they're just stealing money from us. And I don't think that's the right thing to do.
I enthusiastically support Measure A. I said earlier, in order to balance our budget, we have to tighten up our belt. I believe we need to be on par with other cities in the area. And an increase in sales tax would bring in between 20 to 30 million over 10 years. And putting together a budget that's balanced is going to require a variety of strategies. This is only one. Last November, for example, voters passed Measure NN for public safety, for a comprehensive public safety strategy. That invests $47 million in helping us get to 700 police officers, strengthening our ceasefire, our crime prevention efforts, strengthening and helping for macro as a mental health intervention, which needs a lot of support. And so we pass these measures so that we can have a safe, clean, livable city. And I believe Measure A will help us get there in combination with Measure NN, in combination with Measure W coming from the county. We would be on the right track. Thank you again.
Yes, I support this measure. I do not like this measure at all. I honestly don't think it's going to pass, and if it doesn't, I think it should be probably go back on with an expiration date, which it should have always been an emergency tax that expires in 5 years to give the city some time to recover from this no-action government that we have running this city. I mean, it's crazy how long it takes our government to do things in Oakland. We've got to speed up the government, and we've got to hold the government accountable for existing ballot measures. I believe in quarterly report outs. I'm from the business community. This government needs to report to us every quarter on how we are or are not making progress on these big ballot measures that we approved so that we would make progress on our roads, our school systems, our public safety systems. Congresswoman mentioned Measure NN. Measure Z was a failure, so how are we going to make sure Measure NN doesn't go down that same road? So we've got to start shining a light on progress as we go along and not wait until the money gets spent and we get a F on our report card.
I do support Measure A as a short-term fix, but it cannot be our long-term fix. There should be other solutions for our long-term fixes in Oakland. For example, what I mentioned before, I kind of want to do the reverse, offer community service incentives for, or community service programs for tax incentives, and that could actually save us a little bit in taxes if we choose to do community service and help our community, and that'll help with our community pride and help people invest in Oakland more than just their dollars. People invest their time, energy, and love for Oakland that way. We also need to focus on creative revenue sources, what I mentioned before, creative naming rights. We need to focus on that as well. So sure, as a temporary possible fix and to get more revenue into Oakland quickly, Measure A would be great, but we cannot keep focusing on just raising taxes to keep putting Band-Aids on Oakland's budget. I'm Elizabeth Swaney. Thank you.
Well, as you know, I oppose Measure A, and I stand by that because think about it. We have Measure NN. You had all these other measures and bonds. If that was so good, why is Oakland so bad right now? It doesn't fix the problem. And that's why we have to have a completely different approach than we've been taking. And I go back to what I said. If we clean house inside the finances of the city, I think you're going to find there's a lot we can use for things that will actually work and support our communities. So for that reason, I stand firm against it, and I would urge everyone to not vote for Measure A. We have to do something new. I think it was Einstein who said, you keep doing the same thing wrong all the time. There's something about insanity in there. I've now paraphrased it wrong, but anyway, you get the idea. So, that's where we have to now be very strong. We have to not be afraid to go and do something different because it might work. And there's principles that built this country, and it will work again if we go back to it.
Yes, I am an advocate of Measure A. This is because it's up to you, the voters. It's up to you to make the decision, to make the right decision, and hopefully our decision for mayor and city council. Now, Measure A, it can alleviate our debt it can also allow us to continue to have a working public safety budget to keep our fire department and to keep our police force. You know, by having an Oakland July Police Academy come around, you know, we'll have money for it so we don't have our officers getting tired from overtime without pay. Measure A is important. If you don't pass it, then you'll leave it up to us, you know, the mayor and city council. And what we may do is change it to an answer that you may or may not like, and there'll be more conversations. And we got to get this business done today. Thank you very much.
We will now allow each candidate to give a 1-minute closing statement. Candidate Liu, we will begin with you. You have 1 minute.
We have to increase tourism in Oakland, and one way is turn Lake Merritt into a water park with a giant water slide. And there's 10 sizable parks like Diamond Park that could be turned into a concert venue for our artists, like bands, startup bands, and they could play. And with all these parks, we could have each unique theme experience. Each park, like I'll have the biggest companies adopt a park, and they'll be paying for it essentially with the name branding rights. You know, let's say for 10 years they could, you know, have this brand like advertising, use this park, and they'll be providing for the entertainment and stuff like that. And once we have a city that's very high tourism numbers, then it'll increase the tax revenues, and it would lessen crime because people would actually have jobs, because with all these parks they'll be you know, funded, and then they'll be having jobs for the people. Thank you.
Thank you very much for coming out this afternoon. As mayor, I want to immediately set up an Office of Public Partnerships. I think it's important that Oakland's mayor and I have the ability to bring together allies, partnerships, philanthropy, private sector investments to Oakland. Oakland needs someone who can lead immediately, who can bring all aspects of our city together to solve problems. Also, I hope my campaign is reflective of how I will govern. I have the support of the Oakland Chamber of Commerce as well as our Central Labor Union. I have the support of tenants and landlords, from pro-recall supporters and those who were opposed to the recall. And I hope you believe in me and know that I have always worked for Oakland, and now it's more work to do here at the city, and that I will be a hands-on mayor, making sure that core services are delivered to our residents, and make sure that we have, yes, the challenges met, but also the opportunities magnified. Thank you again.
Look, folks, you know, the future is now. I mean, this is our time. This is one of the most important elections we've ever had. And it's not just about solving the problems. It's about building our future as a city. It's about a bold leader who can set a strong vision for this city and who can get everybody motivated and mobilized to paddle towards it with everything we got. We need to separate ourselves from San Francisco. We need to build a world-class city. We have incredible assets in this city that we have allowed to get run down. And we need to turn Oakland into the cleanest, greenest city in the country, if not the world. If we believe in that vision, we can create that vision. But if we stew in our problems and we live in the shadow of San Francisco, then that's what we're going to be. Overflow housing for San Francisco, doing everything they do with every problem they have, waiting around for them to recover so we can recover. It's time for us to make a move in this city. It's time for us to build the future. And that's my platform. It's not just solving the problems, which we have to do, but it's leveraging the problems to build a better future for all of us.
I'm Elizabeth Sweeney, and something we didn't talk a lot about this afternoon is public safety. And one thing I've noticed, we do not have a streamlined police officer hiring system. It takes about 7 months to even try to be an officer. I know because I applied in 2023, 2024, and I was ranked #1 after the agility test and panel interview. The first year I was told, oh, you probably won't move forward because you didn't submit one reference in on time and we didn't tell you about that deadline. Up until that point, it cost me a few $100s to apply with all the tests, and it would have cost me $1,000 to pay for a police uniform on day one. So I know enough police officers or candidates are applying to Oakland, they're just not getting through because of administrative reasons. A city of our size should have about 1,000 to 1,200 officers, not 650. Also, thank you very much for St. John's Genesis for having this. I've also really enjoyed getting to know all the candidates throughout the last few months, and I think whoever you choose or whoever you rank will do a wonderful job. Everyone cares so much about Oakland in this room. I'm just looking forward to what's up ahead for Oakland and an Oakland Renaissance. Thank you.
Well, let us march forward together with love in our hearts, with faith, and to do what has to be done. Because that vision for Oakland and what Oakland, once was, is now possible. And I say in 18 months, we work in a way that doesn't need another 4 years. We have to make things change in a very rapid way. And that's why I am running for mayor, because you need a vision for the city which takes in the idea that we're not going to have drugs in our streets. To me, one of the worst things in Oakland, not ranking it just that way, is that we have killer drugs. We have fentanyl. We have people, young girls, walking around as prostitutes down International Avenue, near where I live. And this is beyond what is allowed. So if we have this kind of vision, and we have this kind of faith, and we have this kind of knowledge, we can do it. That's why I vote for me for number 1, and I say Lauren Taylor for number 2.
Okay, as you remember or you recall, my name is President Christina Grappo, and I want to make Oakland thrive. This means uplifting Oakland citizens, each and every one to have a sense of dignity. We cannot go, we can walk past our bad media glimpse at a mayor being recalled, our DA in transition. These are different accounts of history for our city that has changed it. Now, I mean for the better. I can make more promises to keep. I can hold our vision high. I can keep steady pace with you. I can listen. As an educated person, someone who's been part of Oakland businesses as a professional, very well educated, I can deal with people on a number of different levels. And I believe I'm the best one for you, so please keep me in mind on Election Day, April 15th, 2025.
Again, my name is Lauren Taylor. I thank you guys for attending today. Thank you, St. John's, Genesis, and acknowledging my fellow candidates. We are at a state of crisis. It's time that we move forward quickly. I am ready to hit the ground running, addressing our toughest challenges. We did not go that deep into public safety, but that is an area that is top of mind for all Oaklanders. And yes, we have to move to more officers on the force. I have a detailed plan to get to 800 officers. A plan to reduce the 911 response times. Also, a plan to ensure that we are solving crimes, proving that Oakland is not a lawless city, increasing our solve rate. There's more detail on laurenforoakland.com. Please check that out. But we need someone who understands the city, has been working in the city, 10 toes down, moving forward, making progress. In my district, we reduced violent crime when I was in office, when the rest of the city crime rates increased. We've got to lean and move forward with the momentum that we've already been building. Thank you.
Let's give all these candidates a round of applause. As we close, we wanted to give you information about how to vote in the special election. 1, ballots have been mailed. You should have received them by now. 2, All ballots need to be returned by April 15th. 3. Submit your ballot one of 3 ways. Snail mail, which should be postmarked by April 15th. Dropbox, look online to find an Oakland ballot drop box near you. Or you can cast a vote at a local voting center. If you registered or submitted your email to this event, you will get information in your email. Please vote. It is important so that our collective voices are heard by those who are elected to serve us. Thank you.
I want to thank Maddie and Claire for being our co-moderators. I want to thank the St. John's Action and Justice team for all their hard work. And let's hear it for our timekeepers, Lori and Sophia. And I'd like to just offer a closing prayer from our tradition. Send upon all those who hold or will hold office in the city of Oakland the spirit of wisdom, charity, and justice, that with steadfast purpose they may faithfully serve in their offices to promote the well-being of all people. In the name of the one who goes by many names, but is confined by none. Amen.